That's TJ. It was. All right. Welcome to the June 16th, 2025 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the City of Plattsburgh. Before we get going, as you can see, there are only 4 voting members up here. Any motion needs 3 minimum affirmative or negative votes. So if we go to 2 or anything like that. So based on that, if anyone wanted to postpone and wait for 5 members, you're welcome to do it. We would do it on behalf of the board. Some people here have already been through all of this. And I think they're probably gonna want to go ahead, but if anyone wants to hold off, you can say so now, or even once you get up here and we start talking, if you don't feel comfortable with it, you're welcome to just say, I'd like to postpone due to only having 4 members. Okay. All right. We've got a number of applications in front of us. We will take them in the order that they're on the agenda. So Kim, come on up and we'll hear your appeals in reverse order, because if the second one doesn't go through, there's no sense touching the first one. So we really didn't get into it at all, I don't believe, previously, just because we didn't have enough people. So if you, and I'm not sure everyone here is even here for what little discussion we did have. So if you could just kind of give us a rundown.
Sure. Yeah, we were here last month with the Wall Street application. There was some discussion, and I think some of the members of the board had some good questions and raised some pertinent issues. And Kim has taken has made quite an effort to respond to those issues and provided financial information and do analysis of financial information affecting the lot. And the proposal, we've also submitted a narrative response to the 5-prong test for the variance requirements. So, just to recap, what we're looking at, and this is a little complicated. It's zoned industrial, but what we're kind of treating this as is if it were an R2. What we're asking.
Yeah, we just
Sure.
interrupt just for a second, but we will be treating the variance as industrial because
That's correct.
we can't
Right.
change.
Yeah. So on our plan, we actually showed the tables for both industrial and as it were R2. Yeah, if it were R2, it would meet all of the zoning requirements. The toughest in industrial, the variances that we need are the minimum front yard setback. 40 feet is required. We're providing 20.5 feet. So we're asking for 19.5 for front yard setback variance. And, you know, the main reason for that is so we can put some of the parking in the rear of the lot. Rather than having the front yard. And, the only other deficiency is the minimum side yards. In industrial zone, it's a minimum of 20 feet, total of 40. In other words, 20 and 20 side yard setbacks. Here, with our plan, we're providing 10.74 on the south side. So we're asking for a variance of 9.26 feet. The north side of the building where we have parking laid out, we meet the setback requirement. So those are the only two deficiencies usually that we're asking for. And of course, the use variance. Yeah, there's two other things. There's the use variance, obviously. Residential use is not permitted in the industrial zone. And the only other dimensional relief we seek is for 24-foot aisle, you know, parking stalls, as opposed to the 26 feet that's required. If you zoom out, let's point those things out and plan a little bit of what is where we're talking about. I may went out here, Mr. Chairman, the names. Right here is at 24 feet from the building to this 12 parking spaces. We would slide it down, you know, 2 feet, but we're looking at you know, making that side yard setback even worse. There's a 20-foot setback required by industrial zone. We're at 10.74 to the building. And we show the 10-foot setback as if it were an R2. But this is the true setback, 20-foot side yard. So to keep some side yard down here, 10 feet, we're asking for 24 feet. We've only got 2 other spaces here that, you know, will back out into that traffic aisle. The other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those 6 spaces on the top, they got plenty of room to maneuver and back out. So that's the other dimensional deficiency we had. Any questions? Yes.
Is there a provision in the zone for compact or space?
There is, but it's through the planning board. So we don't make that.
This one is not going to the plan, correct?
It's not.
Again, you should have in your pocket, right in your packets, narratives provided by the applicant showing the financial aspects. Kenny's got the report on Century 21 Realty to that effect. There's also a narrative that responds to the 4-pronged use variance test regarding lack of reasonable return, unique hardship, the essential character of the neighborhood, and unnecessary hardship not self-created, and also the 5-pronged test on the area variance request is also in the narrative. That's whether or not on desirable change, whether there's feasible alternatives, whether the requested variances are substantial, whether the variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical conditions of the neighborhood, whether the difficulty was self-created, and so forth. And we've given written responses to each one of those questions.
I see you also address the comments from the planning staff.
Yes.
If the 2 parking spots on the to the south side.
Yep.
If they were 2 feet deeper, would that give you the,
Well, no, because
tile?
we're 24 feet, we're measuring it from the building. I think. So the north side of our building is right here, we're going 24 feet.
Oh, I
And
see.
then an 9 by 18 spaces, and we're keeping the, the required 5 foot buffer from the property line to 8 parking.
Technically, you need 3 feet.
3,
3 for the pavement.
where I come up with 5.
But
My mistake.
but the 2 parking spots on the south side, the southwest,
Yeah.
so if they were deeper. So that you could get 27.
Yeah, those, yeah. If we. We have 24 here now. No, I'm sorry, I do have it 3. This dimension is 3, thanks.
Yeah, you do.
I was thinking my head spot, so we're already 3 feet. To the property line, I want to go much closer, but yeah, we could drop these down 2 feet, and that would give you a little more, that would, you could reach your 26 foot separation there. Yeah, so we could do that, no problem.
But you'd still only have 24 from the building.
Right, which, if you had a single row of parking spaces, you wouldn't need the 26. That 26 is required when you have double stack. Spaces, or at least that's the way I understand the zoning ordinance.
Is that a statement?
I'm not entirely sure, honestly, it doesn't look like it to me. It says perpendicular parking is a 26 foot aisle for one direction or 2 directional flow.
Right. If it's an aisle,
But
I guess,
I
I guess we
it's-
consider it not an aisle, but there's
That'd
a
be
building
correct.
on one side, not cars backing in and out.
I can understand.
Any other questions, comments?
Thank you for rounding out and providing this extra information regarding the use variance, because that's the biggest hurdle here, and I think that you've, for me, achieved that.
Okay, guess I'd like to open up to the public. Is there anyone in here that wants to address the public? In regards to either the use variance or the area variance? No? All right, I will close the public hearing for it. Things change here. All right, we have a seeker. I believe on the use variance, I believe it's a long form. And section B, I was never answered. Coastal area, which is not. In C2. Comprehensive land plan doesn't include this. I would assume.
I don't have that. It's on right. What's the structure?
C2 doing municipally adopted comprehensive land use plan to include the site where the proposed action would be located. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It is checked now. It's just offset. Forget that. And I think. Will the water line in an existing district be will an extension of the water line be necessary to supply the project?
Let's see, that water main right out in the street,
So no,
should be enough. And we need an extension, no.
yes. And those were the only ones that I saw. Good, let's get to the end of this. Oh. Facilities serving children, the elderly, people with disabilities. Within 1,500 feet. Is there something in the housing authority? In their community center or something that serves? I've never been inside there,
I don't think that there's anything.
1,500 feet. Okay,
Really reliable. Cemetery, well, that's the one.
What was that question again?
well, I thought that there was a community center serving children in the housing authority inside, right there off of Sharon Ave. Which as a crow flies, I'm not sure if that's 900 feet.
Think so.
I don't think it will be.
What if I found like the Tech Day Center or something like that?
Yeah, I don't think it's, I'll try and pull it up real quick, but.
But the question is does this have an impact on?
Well, that's
To
true.
say that probably not affecting anything like that. Plus the fact that there was a, well, it still is, and you torn that down, it's the old, base, residence that was on the site. There's- So it's not like we're, starting from scratch with pages.
I don't think it's within 1,500.
Okay,
So.
in the moot point. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that after review of the long form environmental assessments, full environmental assessment form, that the board chair mark the changes as mentioned and sign that no reasonable impact will occur.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
It's well outside of 1,500 anyway.
What's that?
It's well outside of 1,500 feet. So. Oops.
Now a motion for the Class A use variance.
Make a motion for appeal number 2394 that for a class A use variance request to construct townhouses in a zoning district where townhouses are not permitted.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Sorry, it's
Something that themselves.
gonna be a long night. There's 2394.
2394.
Oh, we got it. Higher.
Hey, the first step is done. That's good. You got 4 yes votes. Now, for 2393. The area variance. And just to reiterate, we're reaffirming the lot depth and lot size where you're deficient against industrial. And we have 2 variances, 2, 3. What do we end up with? The 24-foot aisle width? The 8 foot. Side yard setback,
10.74 side yard. Where minimum 20 was required. And then front yards. Providing 20.5 where 40.
and then the aisle width. Official.
Moved those and parking spaces down 2 feet, would that remove the need for the variance for the aisle?
No,
Say that again.
no,
Okay,
because of the building.
okay, so it needs to be for the whole.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
According to Kaya. So I guess actually we should do the seeker on that. Which number 2 does require a permit, building inspector. The only other. Okay, it's the other one. That is it, yeah. Blank. Oh, wait, I've got it. No, you have it. Yeah, just wasn't attached.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain.
I make a motion for appeal number 2393 that the board chair review questions 1 through 11 that no small impact on your current sign.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, then. A motion on the 3 deficiencies.
I'll make a motion for appeal 2393 for KLM Properties, a Class B area variance, to request a townhouse, to construct a townhouse, while highlighting at the plans as drawn are deficient in the driveway aisle, the front yard setback, and the side yard setback.
Second,
Second.
you're good? Yeah, you get people sitting back for that. Okay. All right. Next up, Garrett Manette. Yep.
So, as you're aware, we're looking for approval to start a community garden at South Acres Park, and I have a map here where I can show you as well, in case you don't have it in front of you. We're planning to, hopefully be constructing the garden near the barn. So we have easy access to water, and there's also security cameras at the nearby buildings, so that will deter people from messing with the garden if they're not supposed to. And I also have an outline of how I'm the president of the campus garden club, and I'm also the summer greenhouse and garden assistant. So I'm heavily involved in gardening on campus. And so I also have an outline of how the campus garden club plans to support Garrett's project at the park and make sure that we have enough people coming in to maintain it. So where would you like me to begin?
How, I guess, describe how a community garden works and how often people are around and who maintains it, that sort of thing.
Yes, so the strategy that Garrett outlined would be one where each household or group or participant has their own raised bed or the section of a raised bed. So he's also acquired funding for bamboo raised beds so that we'll be able to cheaply and easily construct raised beds to remove some of the barriers with accessibility. And so the plan as it is now is that the garden club will have a sample plot so that we can show people who haven't gardened before how to do it, give them a sample planting schedule. I also brought my outline for we're starting a similar in the campus garden. We're starting some community plots for the fall so that students who maybe don't want to grow things in these shared beds that we have for the club can grow their own things in a special section of the garden. And I have an outline for that I can leave you as well if you're curious about how that works. And in terms of recruiting members, we already have a few members from Garden Club who live in Plattsburgh over the summer who are interested in participating. We have other Garden Club members who are here in the fall who can help out with fall plantings and harvests. And we're also planning to start a meetup group. Meetup.com is a really popular way to have social events, clubs for adults, if you will. And so that is really, I use it a lot when I lived in Rochester. However, in this area, most of the meetup groups are in Burlington. And so if we have a meetup group here in Plattsburgh, that'll get people out to the park, get people participating. The maintenance depends on the crops and who's growing what. But my husband and I, we recently bought a condo on Johnson Ave. So we live in the neighborhood, we're planning to stay around. And we don't have a lot of space at our own place, but we're gardening enthusiasts. So we will be maintaining a community plot as well, or a plot in the community garden as well. So we will be there, and I'm always happy to help with maintenance, but we were planning to have regularly scheduled events. So we invite people to come out, all garden together, work on our plots at the same time, and then that would keep people coming, that would keep people accountable as well.
How do you advertise the group?
Oh, meetup.com, you create a profile for your group on the website, and then you post your events. So if we have a Saturday watering and weeding event or something, we will simply post it in advance with the date and the location so people can sign up that way and show up.
Can you talk to us about the location of the garden? Is it necessary to be there? Could it be closer to the barn? A little bit further away from some of the residences, maybe?
Oh, sure, we just need a location, but it doesn't have to be exactly right up to that red line. If the residences would prefer to be for it to be closer to the barn, that would be fine as well. What we're looking for is easy access to water, and we can get that at the barn. And we'll be providing the watering cans and things like that.
So these events, would they involve numbers of people, music, for instance? Would there be a neighborhood consequence to some of the events?
No, we would keep it very respectful, and it'll probably mostly be middle-aged people who like gardening coming out together to garden. I'm an older student, I'm a returning student, I'm working on a second degree, so I was planning to invite some of my friends from the community as well. So we will definitely be mindful of making too much noise, and we'll keep the volume down, but I don't anticipate that being an issue with this crowd.
Is there a reason that you didn't put it over by the barn?
I actually didn't design that map. That's the one that Garrett provided. So I'm not aware of any issues with putting it closer to the barn. I know that there's a playground near the barn, so we were hoping to be a little bit separated out so kids wouldn't be tempted to come play in the garden beds. But as long as it's in the proximity of water and easily accessible, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, because where it is right now, parking is all the way on the other side of the barn.
We are okay with that. People are going to have to be able-bodied to be able to really be using the garden, so it'll be a short walk and there won't be much to carry, so. Where the cars are parked behind the barn over there, if people need to drive up along that little driveway to unload things, that would be fine, but we were trying to be mindful of where the proposed location was, but if we can get a slightly modified location approved, I'm sure Garrett would be fine with that.
Did you get a copy of the planning staff comments? About the questions that they had?
Oh, yes, it's actually on my phone, if it's okay to pull that up, or did you want to pull it up on the big screen? Or?
It's nothing, there were some good questions that they had on there, so I thought it would be good for you to have.
Oh, sure, yes, I already read through them and took a look, so.
I just have one, and this isn't necessarily, my decision is not hanging on this, but just a thought that I had in terms of the income limit. I don't know how the 50,000 was come up with, but if you wanted to have an income limit, I would recommend perhaps using Alice guidelines. So those are what would be classified as the working poor, and it depends on household size, but that way that's a predetermined number, and it leaves space for people above poverty line but still struggling to make ends meet. And it would be easier for you to just kind of plug those numbers in because they're determined by the United Way.
Yes, I will pass that suggestion along, and in addition, I also talked with Garrett about that, because I also had some concerns about that number, and as long as it's acceptable to get this approved, we were thinking it will be an honor system where if you can afford the fee, the goal of this garden is also to provide a space to grow food for folks who might not be able to afford fresh produce. And so it's an honor system thing where if you're going through financial hardship, if you can't afford a monthly contribution, we'll take you at your word for it, and there's just a form you can sign. Otherwise, if you're able to make that cost happen, that way we're not making people feel like they have to share their personal financial information and instead treat it as an honor system. And most of the costs are going to be covered by the grant money anyway, and Garrett's already procured some.
There was also a question about succession planning in case Garrett loses interest in the project. It sounds like you have a little bit of a community going already. So number one, can you address that? Number two, there's a community garden on Bailey Avenue in the Melissa Penfield Park. Are you guys associated or not associated?
No, we're not associated, and the goal of doing a south side garden is to make it accessible to people who might not have cars, and so that way it's an easy walk or quick bike ride for them as well.
And then in terms of like the succession planning, if Garrett.
Oh yeah,
Perhaps that.
so do you mean succession planning is
Well,
literally
if he
what
loses
setting off
interest
the-
or moves, how do we make sure that it doesn't just turn into
Oh,
weeds
okay.
and nothingness?
Yes, so right now, the plan is to basically create a little bit of a committee. Once we get approval to have a location, it'll be easier to get people to commit to be there. So at this point, Garrett still has a few years left until he graduates, and there are also some rising sophomores in the garden club who would be interested in maintaining as we move forward. I'm a homeowner, so I'm planning to stay in the neighborhood. I'll be there as well, and we can also work on if people would prefer to some pods would prefer perennials. We could do that as well, so it's easier for the next group of people coming in if they wanted to simply maintain the same things that were planted the year before. That would also be an option.
Just an FYI, I just pulled up the GIS map. Even on that, where that location is, it's still about 90 feet from that back property line.
Okay.
Give or take, just for your reference. It's hard to see that on the map and not really know, so that's just a reference.
So this letter from the mayor. It refers to the application being reviewed and acted upon in ordinary course of business. Is that does that imply a renewal process, or that there should be? Will there be an ongoing? That's up to the mayor, so that's basically up to the mayor.
Yeah, I would imagine it's not up to us, but.
If necessary with that, if we do need to go through a review process every season, we can also deconstruct the raised beds for the winter. And then if it's something where we need approval every year, we can then rebuild them the next spring. So we chose lightweight, affordable materials with everything.
I have to imagine that you won't have to do that.
Any other questions, comments?
Will it be fenced in?
Oh, no, so the garden itself won't be, that's part of the advantage of the raised beds, is that way we can keep the smaller critters out of the plants. And it'd also be easier for bending down, not having to be right there on the ground itself, and we don't have to fence off an area of the park, people can still freely access it.
That's all I have.
Okay, I guess I'll open up to the public. Anyone in the public have any comments about it? No, I will close the public hearing. It does have a seeker with it. Um, there are some blank questions. And I think one of the big ones is a new water supply or service. No, you're planning on using what's there,
We're planning
No.
to use it there, yeah.
additional. And the need for wastewater.
No, we won't need that
Yeah.
either.
Okay. Anything else really doesn't. I'll entertain a motion on the secret.
I make a motion for appeal number 2395 that the chair review and sign that no residual impact may occur.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for appeal 2395 at 25 Flynn Avenue, that the board approve a special use permit request for community garden on city-owned property.
Second. Great, you got 4 yes votes. You're
Wonderful,
good to
thank you.
go. Although based on that letter, I think you still have to get approval from common council
I think we do.
after we approved it. Yes,
Wonderful, thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah.
Any next steps for me right now? or-
No, we're good.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Okay, come on down. Welcome back. Just keep trying to push the limits. Okay,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this, another, unique declaration was had, and it's unique because of the slope of the property. We're higher at the back of the property, than we are out on the street by several feet. So if we were. Okay, I don't know if you can rotate that. Property turns north and south rather than left and right. There we go. So the north side of the property, the rear, it is about 5 feet higher than the street. So, if we were to put a continuous slab all the way across, parcel, we would be looking at the hill. It would raise itself above the street level in the front yard. We would look back ugly and make the driveway and parking lot difficult to maneuver. So KLM Development has come up with a unique plan that we think really suits the site very well. They've broken it down to 4 separate buildings, including the existing dwelling that's already on the lot. So as you can see, the lower right is the existing number 15 building, which they just recently, I think I saw a photo earlier, that showed the addition on the west side or left side of that existing 2-story. And then as you can see, the other 4 units are comparably sized and balances out quite nicely. We've got a 24-foot driveway extending back to 26 feet wide in the rear. The parking spaces all on one side. With the exception of, if I may point out, Mr. Chairman, with the exception of free spaces located over here on this side. You see the hatched area would be, straight painted. That serves as a handicap vehicle drop off, as well as provides access to the trash receptacle location. Yeah, we've since tweaked the plan that's on your screen a little bit. No major changes. Primarily, one of the things we did. You take those two places, between set up building the north building, the 2 parking spaces, we pick those back a little bit. Just to provide more room between this, curb radius and that one part, so the 6 all over to yeah, given the slope of the parcel, we're trying to work with the grades that are there and keep it, not looking like it's sticking out of the ground much and, kind of blend in with the neighborhood. We think this is a good layout, but we do have, which is, kind of unique, the city of Plattsburgh, other surrounding towns do allow more than one principal structure on a parcel just for this purpose. That's a permitted use in many of the zoning ordinances in the area. Yes, the city does have a planned unit development section in the zoning ordinance. Or, when you want to do something like this, have more than one structure on the lot. But that currently requires a 5-acre parcel, and we're only a half an acre, so. But we think, there's no great detriment to the neighborhood of the proposals. It's 8 families altogether, 2 in each of the buildings. They're side by side 2-story duplexes. So that's really I don't think they're gonna last long. That's a popular thing in the market right now. Have a building like that, but this will be under KLM's ownership. They'll be the landlord. Everyone here will be tenants. These won't be, sold as separate townhouses or condominiums. It will all be under one continuous ownership. For questions and the answer.
Just for your reference, guys, then we're discussing the new zoning. If it is approved, multiple buildings will be allowed on one.
Oh, good.
So
About time. It's gonna help. That's gonna go a long ways to help our housing shortage.
You're saying we aren't on the cutting edge here yet?
Do you anticipate that at some point you might need to add a utility structure or shed or something?
Yeah, and you've laid out a very nice floor plan. Yeah, there's quite a bit of storage inside each unit. For, you know, things like you probably get your grill in there. Also, oh, I know what this plan doesn't show. It doesn't show the 8x12 patios.
Yes,
Off the back of each of these buildings.
Oh,
And those will be, there will be 6 foot high fencing and closing or separating those. So that's another place where storage, you know, where everything that you say outside a little bit.
Well,
It could be out.
I think, maybe not, but either way, it begs the question, what about maintenance? Storage for your maintenance of the facility.
We've added as well, a little
Yes, there's,
utility room on the north side of the southwest building, right, where it says 20 feet, there's just a little, like a 6x10 part of the building that will be the water meters and those types of things.
Is it the thing labeled recent addition on this?
No, it doesn't show that on there, I'm sorry.
not on that.
Yeah, not utility.
On this, you may be looking at this plan. It says recent,
The new,
recent addition.
yeah,
Okay, that's a recent addition to the 2 story.
On the existing.
I think-
oh, okay, that's not the story, okay.
Yeah, that's on the north side. We call them 1, 2, 3, 4, starting in the lower left clockwise, building 1, 2, 3. Then the existing building would be 4. There is a mechanical room, will be added to the north side of the building 1.
Will the proposed duplexes, or I guess will all 4 of them, since there's an existing structure, will they all kind of look the same and homogeneous and? Okay.
We're going to the planning board as well, so, you can see that this is, if this were the existing
Mhm.
duplex that we're working on now. The newer ones would have the same siding, the same kind of
Mhm.
wood brackets, porticos, metal, the same metal roof on the overhangs and porticos, so. There's actually the house around the corner, McDonough has that same portico. I realized afterwards, that that's nice. So we're really trying to fit in with the existing character of the neighborhood.
Mhm.
And we felt that the size of these buildings, Jim was at the site today looking around, it's very similar to a lot of the houses and duplexes. And right next door, it shows there's a property right there that has multiple buildings on the lot, multiple principal buildings across the street, has multiple principal buildings. I think I said it in there's like 4 or 5, like, in all vicinity.
And this one is going before planning board?
Yep.
Okay. Any other question, comments? Open up to the public, anyone in the public, yes, ma'am?
So we own the property on Mohawk, so our backyard, something has. The backside of this, it was installed, we do have some concerns, our sewer line, because it's an 1800 house. Your property next to the street. So we're worried about. And the only reason we know that is because we had an issue years ago and the plumber came and got a snake and should be reaching the street right now. So we're just worried about if something happens to that, who will pay for it and. You know, either during the building or after the building is constructed, there's one concern.
You have a private sewer then, does it run, where that property line is at the rear?
Yes.
I'll provide, we asked the.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Can you kind of explain what that sewer line is?
So, our driveway is a shared driveway with next door. And it runs like down the side of our house, straight back, I believe.
So is that, that's.
Show you where it's through.
Yeah.
They believe that, when they sent the camera down through, it comes from the side of our house down to the existing structure, basically where the driveway is.
Okay,
Where the existing driveway is right now, that's where they believe our sewer line runs in and hooks into that street.
Mr. Chairman, can I point out?
Yes.
Let me explain a little bit of the utility plan that we're currently working on to get to the planning board. The sewer line. Will essentially have like a sewer main running up the driveway to a manhole here. Where this building lateral map hit the manhole. A building lateral map hit the manhole. I think we can coordinate the property owner, if we can locate where this is and. What's gonna be critical is finding the elevation of the depth of it. We may be able to bring that into our new manhole and then grant you an easement over the property. Back this way, as long, you know, hopefully it doesn't. It's not gonna be under this building, otherwise we can, you know, we have to relocate it, I believe, or, you know. I don't know if you can talk to Department of Public Works and see why does, wow. I know why it doesn't go out the front. Doesn't go out the front because all your plumbing goes to the back of your house, doesn't it? Yeah, Yeah.
Like I said, it was built in the 1800s, so.
yeah, well, I'm fairly confident we can address that as we move into the utility and.
Some other concerns, just, that property, the former owner was supposed to take care of the trees that are all overhanging our vehicles and causing damage. It's completely overgrown backyard. And then the volume of people that you're thinking of adding, we were hoping a fence of some sort to, we live on the property. Our daughter and our grandchildren live there, you know, just where do we have people cut through that property, take things off of our porch, just those kind of things.
I just confirmed, are you welcome?
Yes.
So that was confusing.
Anything else?
No, I think those were the major ones.
Valid concerns, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyone else from the public? Okay, if not, I'll close the public hearing portion. Now, and also. To you, like we said, this is going before the planning board. A lot of these issues might be something that the planning board can better address. Okay, they have a lot more latitude as to what they can require. Depending, and actually, I believe there are requirements for shielding from parking to the lot line.
Yep.
So that may end up. I haven't seen those trees, I haven't been by there.
Yeah, he used to be able to trim them, but they're not so big. And each of our vehicles have lived fence and our fence.
Any idea of the tree's gonna have to come down?
There's many trees on the property.
I know.
I know that, we already talked to a neighbor to the east and there's a tree. That's Wilton Comic.
I think the government, if you get rid of those, because there's quite a few services putting in that with workers. It would probably be better.
Okay. We have a seeker. Short form. I think was done. I'll entertain a motion in regards to the seeker.
I make a motion for appeal number 2396 that the board chair review questions 1 through 11. Mark no or small impact may occur and sign.
I will second.
All in favor? Now I'll entertain a motion in regards to the.
I'll make a motion for Appeal 2396 for KLM Development that the board approve a Class B area variance to construct 4 duplex buildings to the plans as shown.
Second.
Hey, you got 4 yes votes, you're good to go.
Very much.
Very much.
Wait till next fall, okay?
Welcome, welcome back to us during the day. Stop off. We want to talk about this. So we'll keep going. You want to stop by, we'll do a little research on it. YouTube, and you guys can get together too. Well, sure, it's going to.
Okay, next up, Diane Agnew.
I'm at 75 Prospect, I think I might have.
Amen.
Figure it out.
I don't really know nothing.
We can listen and ask questions, so we'll be able to vote. Let me find out.
I live alone and for me to go up and downstairs, and if I have a deck, it could just sit out there. I mean, he's told me I could go right across my house, but I wanna come out 10 feet wide.
Okay, so you're asking to come out 10 feet or 8 feet? Well, we had both.
Yeah. I would prefer 10.
And that's into the front yard setback. If our discussion was correct.
So it would be 4 feet into the front yard.
But no ramp. You're gonna do
No,
stairs.
no, there's steps.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Questions, comments?
What number?
Hmm?
What number do you live at? What number?
75 Prospect.
No, you're far enough away.
Are you between Broad and
No, she's between Dennis and Ruger.
between Dennis and Ruger? Oh,
Yes.
then that'd be okay.
Yeah. Correct. You're between Ruger Street and Dennis.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wait, that's the song.
yeah. Just, he lives on Prospect and
Oh,
he
yeah.
was within 500
I got a
feet.
friend that lives in Prospect, Jack.
Who?
Jack, he just lost his wife a couple of years ago from Luke Aaron.
No, I don't.
Any other comments, questions?
They're just gonna be the one set of stairs, coming off the sidewalk.
Pardon?
They're just gonna be the one set of stairs coming off the sidewalk.
Is there anybody that uses them?
Sorry,
What did you say?
is there just gonna be the one set of stairs on the deck coming off the sidewalk?
Right.
Okay,
I think it'll come off the front door.
Yeah, it's gonna come out the front door this way.
yeah,
The step will come off straight from the front door.
okay, gotcha.
Is there a railing over that? Okay, it's just,
Yes,
okay, so.
So would
but
that,
if it's over 30 inches. Railings required over 30
18.
inches,
18 inches.
18.
Oh, it's 30 inches. Sorry, I don't know. It's 30 inches. I know that. Yeah.
So yes, a variance would be required.
Well, let me open up. Anybody in the public have anything to say? No? Close the public. Hearing portion. How wide are the steps gonna be?
Probably the width of the doorways. There's a little landing there now. So probably the width of that landing, I'm not exactly sure. What it is, it's just about the width of the building though. And your steps go up along the house. They go on the landing now. to the
Yeah.
front door.
Yeah,
But they gotta go the other way. Yeah, they'll come straight up.
well, the reason I ask is the steps aren't part of the variance. Okay, because steps are allowed. Okay, so the variance is 4 feet in depth by 18 feet minus the width of the steps. So if you figure steps, it's probably a 3-foot door, probably 4 foot on the steps,
I would say.
as your door is not right at the wall, it's over a touch.
It's all the.
Yeah. So it's only 14 feet by 4 feet is the variance.
Oh,
Do you have a contractor or builder?
Pardon?
Do you have a builder?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. His son.
No.
This contract.
All right, well. I will entertain a motion on the seeker.
I make a motion for appeal number 2397, board chair review, questions 1 through 11, mark no or small impact may occur and sign.
I will second.
All in favor?
I,
And I'll entertain a motion for the variance.
I make a motion for appeal number 2397 for a class B area variance request to construct an uncovered front porch deficient in front yard requirements. A deficient by 4 feet into the setback and 14 feet wide, or as. It's written, I guess.
I will second.
I can go 10 wide. Yes, and I have
Well,
to mark.
Well, we'll
If-
wait and see what the answers are on here.
Okay,
You mean 10 feet out or 10 feet wide on the steps?
no,
No, it's 10 feet
Yeah.
out
Okay, okay. Yep.
as opposed to the.
Four,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
4 feet into the. So,
right.
Hey, you got 4 yes votes. The one thing I did want to say that we didn't discuss, but it was noted in here, is the porch cannot be covered. Okay. So the variance is for an uncovered porch or basically a deck, so to speak. Okay,
But you're very good.
all right, thank you.
Exciting. Yeah, they approved that.
Yeah.
They approved it, they're coming out. 10 feet.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You just need to stop down to apply for the permit now.
Pardon?
Just have to stop in and apply for the permit now that you have the approval.
All right.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you,
thank you.
appreciate
Okay.
Yes.
it. Okay, appeal 2398. Matthew Gulfine. Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
So I have to recuse myself.
Yes. Yeah.
Just shut up.
Well, one person.
Hey, what's up?
So I mean, you can still be a part of the conversation, you just can't vote.
Yeah. Okay. all heavily influenced on
You,
this.
you do understand why.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Conflict
And
of
for
interest.
the personnel here, he's applying for a pool and she's selling, so. A little bit of a conflict.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
So just, I know we did this a little while back for my fence. 'Cause,
Yes.
you know, I live in that beautiful corner of the hospital. And we, I guess my backyard is technically a front yard because of the corner.
Every time I see that, it looks like those are plots.
Yeah, yeah, the previous owner liked her gardens. Those are all raised raspberry bush gardens.
really?
Yeah.
It's South Acres now for that.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have like updated but of course, as you guys know, it's all completely fenced in back there now.
Yeah.
So we're just hoping to, I know again, because my backyard's considered a front yard, is trying to get the pool, pool in the closed portion back there. So I don't know if you.
So there's not enough room to put it in the yard where you're butting up against a property line. Neighbors.
Yeah, like on the, where like the shed is.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So I think I had a picture in that, it looked like you can kind of see. It was a satellite view with that shows the fence. I don't know.
Is that big tree still there?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to unfortunately cut that down because it was causing a lot of problems.
So there's a sidewalk now. It wasn't there before.
Yes, yeah, the sidewalk in. Yes, so. I can kind of show you where. It's kind of. So that tree, of course, our shed is like right there under the tree, so the pool is kind of in where the break is. This will be. According to. Which is, of course, I know it has to be. What was it, 10 feet from the property line, or, because I know or I know our fence is 12 feet per the variance from our property line, so our property line starts at the sidewalk. So we go 12 feet, so I know we think the pool is, I think it's gonna be about 6 feet from the fence in.
That's what you show on
Yeah,
there.
so I think it's gonna be 6 feet between the pool and the fence. And then I know the pool's, whatever, what we getting is 21 feet, and then it's like another, I think I put the wrong. From the pool to the house.
You showed 10 feet.
That's way over there. I don't know where I got that. So it's 31 feet from the pool to my sliding over backside of the house.
Oh.
Just, I took picture 6, I was like, I didn't get a chance to print it out or anything. But I don't know if you can see it, we kind of see. So they kind of put the arrow where it's 31 feet to sliding to where it's a little patio over there. Okay. Let's see, 31 feet there, and then it was 6 feet. That's the beginning of the pool. Of course, I have all the gates are the self-closing that I got, and all lockable. I have locks to put on them once the pool hopefully is installed and locked from the inside. That's how, of course.
Do above ground have to be.
No.
Fenced in? I didn't think so.
Okay, doesn't. No. But and of course I did get the pool alarm and the bonding and everything through. Yeah, but everything's good. So I do have two gates, one on the south side, kind of that little narrow spot that comes off the south side of the house. There's a 3-foot gate there, and up top on the north side, there's a 6-foot gate there. Because both of them are locking. But again, I guess you said that's not too needed, but
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Or would you be building a deck with a pool?
no, this is gonna be freestanding. We're gonna do like a border around it, but no plans for a deck or anything like that. So we have the deck, coming off the back, side, we can see kind of where the blue little direction thing is, there's a deck there, we have it, and then of course. On the, kind of right where the 150 main says, we got our deck there, so. We don't need a third deck. It's not a deck, it's good patio. So, but pass the donut right now.
Okay, I guess I'll open up to the public. Anyone have any comments? Great, if not, I'll close the public hearing portion. Do have a seeker. Is yes. Do need a building permit. All right, I'll entertain a motion on the seeker.
I make a motion for appeal number 2398 that the board chair review questions 1 through 11 on the short environmental assessment form, check no or small impact may occur and sign.
Jim, do you second that?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
I
Now. For the appeal itself.
I make a motion for appeal number 2398 for a class B area variance to install an above ground pool deficient in yard requirements due to the property having multiple front yards.
Second. Man, we're in a yes mood today. What's with this? You're good.
I
Yes.
appreciate it. Is there, I didn't know if there's, this question real quick.
Yeah.
I'm probably not, is there any way to like apply somehow, some way to like. The backyard to be like my permanent backyard, like I didn't know. Or is it, I don't have any other plans to do anything back there, but
We were kind of discussing that downstairs, but there really isn't, unfortunately, that's why you're here.
yeah.
If we had the administrative right to say that, we probably would have made you, but.
Yeah.
As of right now, we don't have mechanisms to.
Yeah, I figured I'd ask if there's anything.
It's a good question.
But yeah,
Well, the unfortunate thing is yours is a very unique
Yeah.
lot. There aren't many like it
yeah,
in the city, so
found that out the hard way.
if there were a bunch of them, then
Yeah,
you can say, let's go to the common council and have them change it.
yeah,
But that's the only way is the common council would have to change the code.
yeah,
And they probably didn't do that for,
one person.
well, or even 3 or 4 properties in the city. It's like, hey, you'll just have to deal.
Yeah, it's,
So,
like I said, I don't know what else we do back there, so I'm good.
It might not be a bad idea though, just because, you know, the zoning board does turn over and to just keep your own records of these so that you can, if you ever have to, you know, you can use that right at the top of the next argument.
Perfect, awesome. Perfect. I appreciate it very much, thank you.
thank you. All right. Rapid Real Properties. Come on down.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you.
So I guess we're looking for a variance to extend the driveway a little bit because, when we initially did it, you were 20 feet at the road, 10 feet off the road before we started the jog out on the driveway, and it was a little lack of communication, I think, or not understanding, but they wanted it 10 feet back from the property line. And for a safety concern,
You can't really back out on the Tom Miller Road, because as everybody knows, it's 30 miles an hour in the city, and as soon as you go over the bridge. On the Tom Miller Road, it turns to 40 and they don't drive 40. So that's what we're here for.
So. You're looking for approval the way it looks right now.
Yes.
Okay, you're not looking to stop any more.
No.
All right.
No, it's basically just enough for 2 cars and barely enough room to do a proper 3-point turn to pull out on the road. And I think the question was, it was a little bit wider in front of the house, which I didn't understand that at first, and the garage just sits back from the front of the house, probably 10 feet, in which most cars are longer than 10 feet. Yeah, no, yeah. So
Where is the property line on this side?
from the left over towards the neighbor,
Yeah,
It's like the pine tree.
yeah, I think so. You pull that back.
Or it's how I get property, man. Oh.
It's, from my understanding, it was past the telephone.
Yeah, where the pine trees are.
Yeah, we're like 6+ feet from the property line. Oh, yeah, right there.
And is it actually 15 feet before it jogs out? Or did you say it was 10?
It's like 15 feet, 10, 12 feet from the road, I think. It
Okay.
might even be more. I took a picture of it on my way over because it looked harder than what it was.
I think our biggest thing was the safety concern, like with his truck, you can barely even turn that around and back and out on. In the city, at least you can park on the side of the road and stuff, and if you have 2 vehicles in there, the back out on the Tom Miller Road is.
Right.
It's an accident waiting to happen. That everybody does 50 through there.
And originally, when we started the house, the driveway was in the front yard.
Right, in the front of the house,
Yeah,
which.
It's like a little maneuver area.
yeah. They paved right over the water shut off and everything, so. Did you see a original picture? Yeah. I think the grass kind of half grew
Yeah,
over it.
there you go.
you've done some nice work.
I get it.
Yeah, I drive down that at least 5 times a week, so
Yeah,
I've been watching your work and I compliment you, you did a great job
I appreciate it.
on the curb appeal of that house.
Yeah,
41,000.
that's what we're, trying to upgrade it because it was a mess when we got into it and a lot of stuff in the house. You wouldn't believe how much stuff you could put in a small house. So yeah, that's we're just trying to, the curb appeal, like you said, and the biggest thing was the safety issue. Trying to back out on that road, and at any given day in the afternoon, when people are getting out of work, you can't get out of that driveway.
Of course, everyone else. The other 5 or 6 places only have a singular 2-car wide driveway.
Well, next door, the house next door, so. They have a single car driveway, but the other half of the driveway is all gravel.
Yeah, they drive on the gravel.
Or they drive on the grass and.
So that's.
Yeah. And the house up the road, there is another wider driveway to turn around in. The 2 houses above Channel 57, I guess I should say. They have it wide enough, you know what I mean, too. It's probably done after the fact, but. So you can see right there from the shoulder of the road into where the jog out is, that's more than 15 feet, I'd say, if I put a tape measure on it. And initially, I thought it was 10 feet from the road before we could start the turn. But then after it was done, they said 10 feet from the property line, which. That's where they wanna start the turn, and I think if you go from the pole, well, is that easement or something, from the pole to the bend, it might even be close to 8 feet now. After I looked at it today.
Well, let me open up to the public. Any comments from the public? No, we'll close that portion. Questions, comments?
I think that the pickle that we're in is that it's done, right?
Right.
And so the inclination would be to say,
Tear it up.
okay, or what's done is done, we're gonna stamp it and carry on, but. The point of the board is to have approval over these things for continuity of neighborhoods and,
Right.
stuff like that. So I just think that that should be stated.
Okay.
What would be? What would be a solution? In other words, let's say it hadn't been done. Is there? Would there be another solution, or would you think you would have asked for the appeal so that you could do this?
Does
that make sense?
Ask for the appeal. So they want you to start.
You could. Part of that is. Am I correct? You would have granted them. An angled into parking.
Into a legal parking spot that's in the side yard or the rear yard.
So
I believe this looks, to me, I can't quite tell, but. From the drawing that we have, it looks like you're partially parking in the front yard of which the front yard starts at the front face of the house.
Right.
So if you're partially, like, if you see, scroll down a little bit. So I guess I can. Yeah, so there's a house and see where the driveway is? It doesn't.
Right.
So what you're essentially doing is making.
Parking spots in front of the house.
Yeah, so those aren't parking spots.
Right.
That's a driveway, right? Driveway leads to a legal parking spot. But you're allowed to park on a driveway that leads to 2 parking spots. Up to 20 feet wide. In that district, because you have a 100-foot lot.
Behind the front of the house.
If you get, yes, if you have 2 spots behind that front of the house.
Driveway could be 20 feet.
You can park on a 20-foot driveway. So that part's legal, the 10 feet. Your driveway's too wide, but you're also not getting to a real complete parking spot. If you were going to an 18-foot parking spot that was beyond the front of the house, so from the front of the house back 18 feet. We'd allow you, not exactly what you have, we'd allow you to kind of have a little maneuver area to get in.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is we don't have the depth. You know, from the face of the house to the face of the garage, there's probably 10 feet. So we don't have the depth.
Right, so.
Would you allow them to pave along the side of the garage?
If there's 3 feet to the property line. That could be extended.
I think the property line is, like I said, 6 feet, it's over here. And you're saying at an angle,
Yes,
so take that corner off.
yes.
But you'd have to be at that car where it is now. The paved area would have to be beyond the front of the house. You understand what I'm saying?
18 feet beyond the front of the house.
Yep.
Okay, so from the front corner of the house to the garage, I mean, I'm just gonna guesstimate it, maybe it's 10 feet. But you're trying to tell.
Yeah.
So like on the side of the garage, I just have to pay 8 feet. That's it.
And you'd have to take up
You
from
probably
there in the front.
have to cut up some of that.
Cut that corner out,
Yeah.
when it comes out.
We have to allow you to get to that. But the bare minimum to get to it.
But would that mess up your 3-point turn?
You'd never turn, yeah. You'd never be able, you'd have.
What Kyle's saying is you could have done that without even needing a variance. If you had created a legal parking space beyond 9 by 18 beyond the front of the house, which would extend just to the left of the garage.
Right, go
We
past
would
it.
have to allow you to have access to it, so you would have been able to flare that out. But that's different than what they're asking for here, because that doesn't do anything for their 3-point turn unless
Yeah.
people are turning in the opposite direction.
So what they have there isn't legal parking, but that's only part of what they're asking for, so you just take what I'm saying, take what they're saying, they're looking for a turnaround for safety. We're saying that it's illegal parking, maneuver areas are also part of that code section, so. That's really the code that they're asking the variance for.
Yeah.
So it's parking in the front yard, it's driveway too wide and or maneuver area, so. There's those, it's all the same thing, it's just different ways to look at it, so. Either way, it's up to you guys to decide whether a variance is granted, or if it's a little different than what their plan is. Again, it's clear up to you guys.
Yeah, and like you said, try to back out the Tom Miller Road is just.
So is there
not safe.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, you're good. Is there pavement beyond the garage right now?
No, ends at the front of the. I don't think it's the way it is, I don't think it's necessary to add, I'd rather have green space than more pavement.
Asphalt.
To be honest, I mean, because if that's the case, then you probably won't have flower beds on the side of the garage, and there are gutters there, and.
Half the city parks in the driveway. In front of their garage.
You're allowed, but that's part of the point, is you're allowed. On a 100-foot lot wide lot, you're allowed to park in a driveway that leads to a parking spot. Parking driveways lead to a parking spot that's in the front or in the front yard. So if he's parking, or your tenant, I know you think you rent it.
Yeah.
If he's parking in front of the garage, or even if he's parking the nose in front of the house, that on a 20-foot wide driveway, he's allowed to park there. Once you get wider than that 20 feet, that's the problem.
And I think, like you were saying, you're set back from your garage, because if I was to pull my pickup in there to the nose of the garage, the back of my pickup truck would be sticking out in front of the house.
And that would be allowed. That was put in there because of places like the French Quarter where they're narrow lots. Yeah.
Champlain.
So narrow lots, not everyone could fit, 2 cars, and there's little tiny narrow driveways. So they codified it. Just saying that you can park there on a lot. So if your lot was big, like 100 feet wide, like they said, you can make it bigger. But if you're on a 33-foot lot, you're not gonna make it any bigger. So that was why they codified it and allowed people to park on that driveway. So just a little history.
And I think the worst thing is like over the bridge, it's like a different world, the traffic's a lot faster. So if you can't park on the side of the road over here like you can in the city. Where, we only need to put one vehicle in because everybody can park down the street. You can't park on the side of the road there.
So it would be legal to park that car in front of the garage.
Yes. They could park there.
Because the garage is the legal parking spot.
Yes, they could stack 2 cars there and it'd be legal in front of the garage. So
like it is now, but they wanna take off the corner, so.
Kind of,
Yeah.
Kind of. Like, I believe that right where that top of the arc is, that's the 20-foot mark, I think. Right?
Basically right behind the mailbox.
Right. You look at.
Yeah, right there.
Right.
That's about 20 feet. I think it's there to the property line, or to the edge of the pavement where I think it's 20. So everything that's beyond that becomes the driveway that's too wide. And not too legal parking spot because it's not beyond the front yard. So it's a little complicated. I probably should have went out and talked to you myself. But
Here we are.
But yeah, they're here for a variance, so I don't think that they're gonna. Achieve, or they can achieve it, but. What they wanna achieve, I don't think they're gonna achieve legally. Without a variance, so.
But it's likely. If they had gone for the variance first, I mean, that this was the variance that they would have asked.
Correct,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah. Cause it's not so much the parking, it's the,
Turn around.
yeah. I mean, we stood out there in the ambulance and stuff flying down through, and it's busy street.
I chuckle because I have a semicircle turnaround in front of my house.
And you probably hate it.
No, I'm on a T.
Oh,
At an
okay.
intersection, so if I'm backing out, I'm backing into the street across the way.
Yeah,
So they.
you wanna turn around.
I back up, pull out, and I'm driving straight out. But now I'm required to look at these and be a hard ass.
Yeah. And I actually have a big horseshoe driveway at my house. I never back out. I drive out all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, so. Well, we have a seeker in front of us.
I do apologize for not coming. Asking.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and Kyle went through his department under the bus in regards to that also, so.
I wasn't intending to throw them under the bus, it's a difficult.
Exactly.
It's a little, yeah, it's just, there's a lot of different facets to it that. A lot of different facets that gotta be explained.
Well, entertain a motion on the seeker.
I will make a motion that after reviewing questions 1 through 11 and part 2 of the seeker. For 2399, that the chair check. No or little. Impact.
Okay, second,
Second.
and motion on the appeal.
Make a motion on appeal number 2399 for a class B area variance request for parking area in the front yard as currently exists.
Second.
Second.
Scott, you want to? Reiterate their option regarding the 4 members.
Oh. Yeah. There are only 4 members. You need 3 yes votes. But if you get less than 3 yes votes, it's not disapproved. We'd have to just come back. Which makes it easier. This is slow as they come back. Great. You got 4 yes votes, so you're good.
Thank you very much.
Next time, check the vote,
Oh, yeah.
please.
I know it'll work.
It just, it makes it more difficult for us.
Yeah.
So to speak. But
I understand. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Revenue real properties. No.
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 Next,
Oh, I'm sorry.
turn the page.
Tran.
Oh, next page. All right, sorry about that. burying all your swag on it.
Yeah.
Sure. It's-
Yeah.
I can't say where ours.
Yeah,
That's, no, can't do it.
no overhead door shades?
No. I purposely never wear one
Oh, yeah.
to the meetings. I don't like to advertise.
Makes
that too
business
much.
with pleasure.
Yeah, have you had to recuse yourself from some garage projects in the week or?
I have not.
Really?
I have not.
Once,
I remember you doing that
yeah,
once.
one time.
Maybe I.
Weeby oil, wasn't it Weeby oil?
Oh, maybe.
No, I brought it up, but I didn't accuse myself because John Lemare was the one I said, yeah, I'll profit from it, but it, you know, I'm gonna profit from the project. no matter
Was it
what we
Christine's
do.
neighbor?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it
Something
could've
in
been
Eastgate.
somebody- Oh, yes. There was that. But either way. My business is non-controversial. Just, they just go up and down.
We try to be non.
So what's this beauty of a project we have here?
So this is the corner of Turkey Street and Broad Street. This is 4 Broad Street. As you can see, the single story building on the corner. It's been a number of things over my time in Plattsburgh. It's currently a beauty shop, nail salon, something of that nature. And the property owner who's owned the property since 2020 is looking to put up a hotel structure. So what we've proposed is to renovate the existing single-story building, which is a little over 1,000 square feet, renovate that into 4 hotel rooms, and then build on top of it an additional 8 hotel rooms. And to try and do that without tearing down walls or exterior structure of the existing building, we're proposing to erect some steel supports on the alley side with the neighbor, which is North Country Behavioral Medicine. And by doing such, the existing 8-foot space from the building to the side yard would be reduced to 6 feet from the proposed structure to the side yard. So currently in this center business zone, we either required to have 0 side yard or 12-foot side yard. So we're requesting a variance to a 6-foot side yard to the adjacent property.
The existing is 8.
Correct.
Before we get going further, I'm sorry, I should ask this. Can you identify yourself? Because I'm not sure if everyone here knows.
Sure, absolutely. Michael Kuhn with AEDA and Derek LeBaire as well with AEDA.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
What is going in that 2 feet, just the posts, or will the containers be in that 2 feet also?
Both. So on the ground level, it would just be steel columns. On the second story, it would be the the hotel space, which is to be constructed using containers.
Okay, so at ground level, it would just be posts. And then,
Yes, on the second story
So
and
the-
third story, it would be
so
living
those would
space.
be hanging out over the existing,
Yes.
okay?
So reducing it to 6 feet would make it more difficult to get equipment.
Yes, it would shrink it down, but it's currently a impervious alley as it is. So we didn't feel there was a lot of anything, there's no lawn area or green space or. Anything that it would conflict with. And as you can see, there's a structure, a crude structure, but a structure that keeps any vehicles or anything from going down that alley.
Do you know if the neighbors are amenable to the reduction in the side yard?
We have not had any discussions with them. I don't know if the owner has, but we have.
And conceivably, it would make maintenance on that neighboring structure a little more difficult.
As you can see, the property line jogs based on our research, and it's a little deceiving because of the angle of the aerial photo, but the back side lot line appears to be even with the neighbor's building. And then it jogs 4 feet into our client's property, which extends all the way out to Broad Street. So there's roughly a 4-foot space from the adjacent building to this side lot line.
Could they go zero?
Yeah, they could go, well. You're running into more building code issues if you go to zero. Right, I think no one wins if we were to. Conform with the ordinance and go to 0 feet. I think you gotta stay at least 5 to make it feasible.
There's a fire code. Have you had the property survey?
No, this is just based on our own research.
Just looking at it, it's almost like that other building's partially on your lot.
Actually, do you have a street view of it?
Yeah.
The street view kind of gives some of the visual evidence of.
You want overhead?
Or if you can just go like up the street closer to the neighbor's property. So, yeah.
Do you know if the current are they the actual owners of the property or are they rent?
Of the neighbor's property?
Yeah.
I don't know if North Country Behavioral Medicine is the owner or just the according to the tax ID, it's lands owned by Dino Santoro. No, I don't know if that's a person associated with the business or just the land. No, you drop it. Zoom in and then drop the guy out. Go out.
What was the name of it? Was it Aztecs? That was the restaurant there?
Right.
Yeah, something like that.
Go.
What is the deal?
We were eating there and the waitress was bringing the sizzling platter of fajitas.
Go to other folks. Yeah, it's funny, this is a little outdated.
Yeah, there's actually, there's a. The 2020, October 2021 is the best.
That's because it's big.
Our Google, Google Maps has an update.
Go to Google.
Big.
You're gonna have to drop it. You're gonna have to drop the guy again. I think it'll do it.
There you go. So you can see by the.
Yeah.
That paper extends across their sidewalk, and then when you line it up with the back building, it'll jog from the tax map.
Go to see no.
Pretty much works out where that's the 4-foot space.
The
The neighbors know this input.
I'll buy it. I'll put it back too. Let that go to 21. And you get a better shot or everything. You can see it better. You just. Oh boy, what did you do? All right. Never mind. You can see it there anyway.
Yeah, that's a gist.
Oh my god. 2021.
It doesn't like.
2021.
That's first time Google.
Put on 2021 was on 21. Then you somehow got rid of it.
Okay.
So I think what Mike was saying that where those pavers are, that's where it goes down and jogs into the building, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and you can see even further in there's baller, so there's, I believe they have some AC units along there that they protect with the ballers. So essentially, the steel structure would be just alongside of the building towards the back half of the existing building, supporting the units up above.
And you said 4 feet is about where those pavers
Generally speaking, yeah. And then it's the 8 feet between building to building.
But that building's right on the property line, right?
Right, because as it goes back, the property line angles in towards the neighbor and then follows the brick portion on the back of that.
So those pavers were put in by the neighbor and they're on this property.
No, I think those are on the neighbor's property.
So, well, not according to this map.
Yeah, but everything's shifted a little bit. I think what he's trying to say is, what he's saying is that if you go straight back along those pavers, that's where the property line is, but then it cuts in to where the building turns brick. The property line cuts in and that's where it becomes 0 lot line. Is that what you're saying, Mike?
Yeah.
Well, that would only make about 4 feet existing between the property line and their building.
Yeah.
No, but it cuts in.
But
No, right
he's-
there.
But he's doing it before it cuts in.
Right, so there's, if you look just from building to building, there's 12 feet between the two buildings. And currently, it's an 8-foot distance from the gray building of our client to the property line that travels through the alley. And then as it gets back towards the brick portion of the neighboring property, the property line veers to the left and then follows the brick building.
Then looking at that, I make my statement again. If those pavers are essentially the property line, you got less than 8 feet from the current building. Especially if that's 12 feet between the buildings.
Yes, it's plus or minus based on our observations and.
Well, that's a big plus or minus from our viewpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time were these buildings owned by the same person or owner at one time? Because I thought when the restaurant was there, that they opened this building next door, or they built it.
I'm not sure, the building was built in 1992. And it was sold in 2006.
Yeah, I think it was built by the people who owned the building next to it. At least it was the same business. I don't know.
I don't think it was the same property. I think it was the same business. It was Aztecs and that was Aztecs Cantina.
Yeah, yeah, they built that, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it was the same property.
Same business.
Yeah. I think what's a little confusing is if you look at the overlay on this, it's clear like on almost all our overheads, that line's gotta be shifted. The line's gonna be shifted, everything's gonna be shifted over a little bit, property lines because of the overlays.
So it looks like here it goes from 8 to 6 to 12 in the back. Right?
Oh, I think.
6 at its narrowest point.
So where it jogs, you're saying is actually at the building line.
Yes.
Right.
And so it shifts over. I see.
So the jog really doesn't apply. Doesn't have any bearing on our areas.
Well, the jog makes it farther away. Actually.
The building's not back there.
Right. So we're going from 8 to 6 rather than 12 to 6.
Yeah, that's what.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so the jog doesn't affect us in any way because the building's not behind the jog.
Right.
So it doesn't come into play.
And the tangible measurement of 12 feet between buildings is what we physically measure. You know, that 12 feet is definitely tangible.
On the very back end.
Right, between buildings, yes.
Okay. But at its closest point, they're 6 feet apart.
No, to the
That's-
property line, just to the property line.
What's the time frame on your project?
I think the
Isn't that the-
client is trying to build as soon as he can.
Oh, yeah, I think that's what it's
Okay,
going to be,
right.
right?
Yeah. We're going from 8 to 6, not 4 to 6.
But there's not been a survey done.
No.
Are they planning on one?
Not to my knowledge.
I'd just say for me, I would be, I mean, I think the request is reasonable if the property line is where we think it is, but we don't really know.
Well, the building is the boundary. Right, because now the job doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the end of the job. Right,
Well, a number of things happen depending upon where that property line is. One is our variance. Two is fire code.
Well, the fire code requires 10 feet between the buildings, or you have to treat the exterior finishes with fire resistant materials. So that's
But
part
it
of,
also kicks in on distance from the lot line. Ignorant of what the other property is.
I think that's the 5 foot.
It's fine,
Correct,
but
right.
the building has to be 10 foot anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But there can't be openings in that building unless if it's 5 feet, closer than 5 feet on that wall, right? Like no windows on that. If it's closer to 5, you're beyond 5 feet anyway.
I see what you're saying.
You're 6 feet anyway, so it's fine.
Well, he's 6 feet if property line is where he thinks it is.
Well, could we?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I feel confident that looking at what he provided and this, and looking at the Google Street, it seems like it's everything jives, but it's consistently inconsistent, so it looks like it's, to me, it looks like everything's off a little bit, but if you put them all together, it makes sense to me. So that's just my opinion. If you want more, you can go for more.
Could we vote saying if the property line is as described?
Yeah. Actually, I think we can also require a survey, can't we?
If you're not comfortable with it, you can.
what are the next steps the project has to go through?
Planning board.
If we gave approval, then the planning board would have
Right.
extra
You're
requirements.
headed for planning board.
I don't know the answer to that. That's if you refer it, correct?
I think Joe and I discussed it today and before and today, and it feels like this might be something that we refer to the planning board.
Okay, then yes, we would be going to.
We haven't seen all the plans and stuff yet, so it's really, we haven't made that firm decision, but that's where we're leaning anyway.
Do we have to rule before it goes to the planning board?
Generally, yes. How did you come up with your approximate boundary line?
Derek, do you want to answer that one?
Well, if you were planning to make a stipulation for distance. I believe the property owner was looking into getting a survey as it stands, so. It wouldn't be. Necessarily mandatory. I mean, you wouldn't have to require it if you could stipulate it. You know, you would have to do it after the fact, but not come back, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
He was in maybe a week ago. I think he was disputing something with the neighboring property and was considering doing a survey of that.
Is there, so in the darker pink area, there's nothing there currently, is there?
That's
Just pavement, pavers, other impervious surfaces. There's presently, if you drive by, there's a lot of times a car parked outside of the existing building footprint where the new building would be.
But where would these posts be? Can you point?
Yeah. So the steel columns that would hold up this end of the building are right here. And then a beam would go across to carry it. This portion of the building will have a new structure on the first floor, so basically a stairway. So this would be, these would be load bearing walls built on the ground level.
And are there posts next to the existing buildings?
Just these right here.
Why does it have to encroach then at all?
Well, because otherwise this building isn't able to carry the weight.
Oh, I see, that building goes under it.
Yeah,
I
so
got it.
this would remain, so the intent is to keep the existing structure. And then build the supports on both sides to carry the weight of the second and third story.
And because you're building out towards Durkee Street, you're putting everything right underneath it.
Right, we have the ability there, because it's presently just a parking space to build structure on the first floor.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? All open up to the public? No, okay, we'll close the public. I'll entertain motion on the seeker. Well, look, right in the seeker, City of Plattsburgh Planning Board.
We try to cover all our bases.
Well, you're saying, are we going to the planning board?
Well, we know it's a potential, but really
Oh, okay.
that comes by referral, so we did identify it so that it wasn't
Okay,
missed if that's. the case.
I make a motion for appeal number 2400. That the board chair review the short environmental assessment form, mark no or small impact may occur on questions 1 through 11 and sign.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion on the appeal itself.
I make a motion for appeal number 2400 for a Class B area variance request. To convert an existing beauty shop into a hotel establishment, creating a deficiency in lot requirements. Allowing for a side yard setback to 6 feet, provided the property lines are as described.
I'll second.
Are we gonna recover the survey?
Well, what did she say? Provided the property lines are
As described.
as described.
They could say, yeah, they're that way.
You think we should?
Good, what's the wording up right now? Yes,
That 6 foot. Going from 8 foot to 6 foot. Provided that the property lines are as described.
Contingent upon confirmation that the property lines are.
from established property.
I'm just curious, say we have a survey and in 2 months' time, we find out it's 5.4 feet. Procedurally, does that then negate this approval and we have to come back in front of the board to request it at 5.4 feet?
Yes,
Or is it amenable to indicate the variance can approach no more than 2 feet beyond the existing wall as it exists today? Cause then if it's 5 feet or less, it brings in building code stipulations, which then we'll have to conform to under the building permit. But it doesn't necessarily change anything that's tangible in terms of use or function of the alley.
Well, potentially, if we said it was, if we establish it from the building line. Potentially, probably not likely, but potentially the property line could come within that. If we based it on the building.
so you're looking for the motion to say an additional 2 feet encroaching. And then essentially we're saying we'll accept down to 5 feet. Below that, we would accept it, but everything changes.
Right, it certainly impact the building construction type.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of a way that we don't wind up back here no matter what in 2 months.
Wait, what about the,
Speaking,
what about the Durkee Street side? You're plus minus 3 feet. If you shove that over, if you're 6 inches too close, and you shove it closer to Durkee Street, is that?
Are there
well,
sidewalks?
but then he has to get into the building for the structure.
Well, that's to a lot that can be built upon. Durkee Street cannot be built upon, so that 5 foot does not apply in that buildable lot. But
what he's saying is move it over 2 feet and get rid of the 2 feet encroachment on the, but you can't do that.
that means tearing down half the
Yes.
building wall.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Right. I mean, it's not to say if a survey proved it was 4.7 feet, then we might have to reanalyze how we build those columns to try and make up that difference.
Yeah.
To not affect the windows up above or anything, but I think regardless. Our proposed plan would not go beyond the 2 feet off of the existing wall. That's sort of the one finite thing we kind of say.
I guess the question is, are we comfortable with it? Down to 5 feet from the property line?
I would say yes.
I would say, yeah, if we word it that way,
Yeah.
2 feet and no more than 5 feet, then that goes in.
Because if a survey ends up showing that the other property's property line being closer than that, at that point, it would be a different issue, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I was the building owner, if I would be comfortable with that.
And just for the, they are allowed to have 0 lot lines. Just to
Yes.
keep that in mind,
They're allowed to have,
0.
It's like right up against it.
so the code is 0 or 12, it's not.
So would we want to rephrase it to creating a deficiency requirements extending no more than 2 feet from existing building?
We can do that, and we still can require a survey.
If you put, let me guess, if you put your post at 0. It wouldn't necessarily mean that your building would have to go to 0. Right, that
Correct. It would just mean the steel now would need to. The beams carrying the portion of it might need to be bigger to cantilever that much. Between the columns and where the loading of the structure is above. It would change the structural design. Could it be done? Yes. Would we want to dig that close to the neighbor's property line? No.
It's gonna be fun digging either way.
Yes.
Didn't think about that one.
So then if we reword it to say 2 feet out from existing, no more than 5 feet from the property line.
Oh, if you kept your posts where they were, but cantilevered all the way over to 0.
That's another option. But again, I don't think. It's to the benefit of anyone to do that, other than avoiding this procedure.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna make a motion for appeal or 2,400 for a Class B area variance request to convert the existing beauty shop into a hotel establishment. Creating a deficiency in lot requirements no less than 5 feet and not extending any more than 2 feet the existing building into the side yard.
I'll second.
Sorry, excuse me.
The survey.
I think by wording it that way. It protects you and puts the onus on us.
Yeah.
To make sure, so I don't think that. I think
So-
that.
so- So it's encroachment less than. No more than,
No
no,
less than 5 feet.
no less than 5 feet
And extending more than 2 feet.
from the building.
So it gives you what wiggle room.
Well, you're coming away with all the goods tonight. 4 yes votes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would love to see a survey, or I'd love to see you do a survey.
I can't,
Whether
I can't disagree, we will make the request of the client.
whether I see it or not really doesn't matter, but
Yeah,
I just hate the unknown.
yeah. No, we will certainly have that discussion.
I'll be, if it's actually, I'll be curious to see.
We'll let you know. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I would invite us to the open house.
Of course.
Thank you, Chris. Oh. Oh. You know. Screwed up.
Oh.
On the community gardens. We had no public comments, but in reality, we had to.
Oh, I almost mentioned.
Next time, please do.
Sorry.
We kind of.
The letters have to be addressed in the
gray hair.
meeting too. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
We could say that we addressed those issues though during the question.
well, let's consider the community garden appeal, the public hearing portion reopened. There were 2 comments. One voting against the community garden near his property from Mr. Douglas Moore at 96 South Peru. And there was also a comment from Brian Bissonette on South Catherine Street. Saying he was not opposed to a community garden, but that it be located as far from any residential homes as possible, be unlighted and have some controls regarding vehicle traffic for safety, as this is an active park. I guess the question is, knowing that, would anyone change their votes?
No, I read them beforehand.
Okay, I think everyone had read these. Okay, then I'll close that public hearing portion. Thank you. All right, we have some minutes. I think we can get rid of some of them. Anyone who we have here. March. We have December 16th, me, Christine, Kim. Okay. December minutes.
November, I don't.
Have we moved December 16th? I haven't in my packet. No. In March, we didn't have enough people that were there. I'm not sure, in February, did we have a meeting? So, in January, I don't know. Well, let's, even if it's a duplicate. March 6th or December 16th meetings, I was here, PJ, Christine, and Kim were here. Maybe a motion from one of you two.
I'll make a motion that after reviewing the December meeting minutes that we approve them as written.
Second, Kim. All in favor? Aye. And March 17th, myself, Ellie, and Kim. That was Ken Musso and Terry Goldfarb on Draper Ave.
I a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second. Aye. All in favor? Aye. And April. So. Christine and Kim.
I move that we accept the minutes for the April 14th meeting as written.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There, see what happens when some of us come.
Last motion.
Last motion,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Aye.
That's faster than I thought. Okay.